And joining me now is Tom Mulcair, CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader. Good to have you with us, Tom.
Good to be with you again, Renee, on this lovely Sunday during this long weekend that we're all enjoying so much.
That's absolutely right. Now let's get down to brass tacks here. The Liberals have filled some new roles. What can you tell us about the new appointments?
Well, Bevan, as you just described, is someone who worked closely with both Kathleen Wynne and Stéphane Dion. I don't know what that augurs for the shape of their current campaign, but he's clearly someone with deep experience. Marjorie Michel, I don't know her. I mean, I've been in Quebec politics for decades, and I can honestly say that she's not somebody that I've ever seen. So she does have background experience. She has a high role with around Trudeau right now, but I can honestly say I've never seen her in action. So I'm sure that Mr. Trudeau has full confidence in her ability to organize a national election campaign.
Now, the former campaign director, Jeremy Broadhurst, he has resigned. He resigned over the summer. Was this the right time for this sort of change? And what kind of challenges are these campaign directors going to have?
We've all been going through the tea leaves, trying to read exactly what's happening on background. Broadhurst's departure was unexpected, that's for sure. Does it show that there was a disagreement about how things were shaping up, about Mr. Trudeau continuing on as leader, for example? That's part of the backdrop to all of these discussions. So I'm sure that both Mr. Bevan and Madame Michel are deeply experienced. But what does it say about the real state of organization and preparedness of the Liberals right now? I think, Renee, it's fair to guess that this is going to be a decisive week for Justin Trudeau and for his Liberals. It's a week where Parliament's not sitting. So all the madness that we've been going through, the unhinged behavior from Poilievre and his Conservatives that Canadians are actually starting to pay attention to, because he took a significant drop in the polls over the past couple of weeks in terms of whether or not people find him to be a valid choice for Prime Minister. So that's the backdrop. If Trudeau was thinking that that would work out well for him, he's going to be disabused of that notion soon, because his numbers continue to be abysmal. So about the only thing that could help the Liberals right now, of course, would be a change of leadership. And Mr. Trudeau keeps signaling, no, he's not going anywhere. But if that's the case, then the Liberals themselves won't be going anywhere in the next campaign.
Right. Just quickly moving on to that, the calls from inside caucus for the PM to step down. You're saying that you don't see that happening. So, I mean, I was going to ask if this is a death sentence for Justin Trudeau, but it doesn't sound like it.
Well, it'd be more of a death sentence for the Liberal Party's chances in the next election. But it should always be borne in mind that Trudeau is Trudeau. He's very headstrong. And if he senses that he's being pushed, he'll just do everything he can to prove the opposite. You know, Renee, one of the things he's allowed to do under the Constitution is to take a walk across the lawn. He lives in Rideau Cottage. He walks across the lawn to Rideau Hall, which is Governor General Mary Simon's residence, and he asks for an election writ. And guess what? We're in an election campaign. But the information that I have from senior Liberals is that he's more likely to take that walk over to Mary Simon's place, Rideau Hall, and ask for prorogation of Parliament. I think that that's what is in the cards. Trudeau needs a reset of some kind. Now, the information that I do have is that it will be a reset to allow the party to choose a new leader. I think that Trudeau is still young enough to have a very good rest of his career. I don't think he's the type of person who wants to be remembered as the guy who got wiped off the political map, which is basically what the numbers are telling us from, you know, this is not a one-off. This is every poll from every polling company across the country. All of those firms are giving us the same information, and he has the same information and probably a lot more inside. So he's basically, this week, he's got to come to a decision, because otherwise there would never be time to organize a leadership race and to give that person a fighting chance to have at least a few months to get known by the Canadian voting public. Because the shorter it gets, the more difficult it becomes. There will be a honeymoon period for any new leader, because, again, if you look at the numbers of Poilievre right now, he has a net negative for the first time. In other words, more people say, ooh, no, thank you. I don't know what that behavior is, and I don't want him as Prime Minister. Singh doesn't seem to be anywhere right now in the polls. And so Trudeau would have the opportunity to pass the baton to another Liberal, perhaps Mark Carney. That's the name I've heard the most often, but there are really strong people in cabinet, whether it's Chrystia Freeland, of course, that everybody knows, or François-Philippe Champagne. There are several in cabinet who are strong, who could do a decent job. But again, all of the information I've got right now concurs around one thing, that the intention is to have Trudeau step aside, have that prorogation, that pause of Parliament, and allow the Liberals to choose a new leader who in all likelihood would be Mark Carney.
All right, we will have to leave it there. That is our time. Tom, thank you as always for being here with us.
Great to be with you. All the best.
Tom Mulcair is our CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader.